This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore.
There's a saying that goes around just about every time there's a presidential election, and it's, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? I mean, it's always that way when, it's said whether or not it's an incumbent president or if it's just the incumbent party. That, well, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? And this is what you're hearing all over the place. You're hearing it on Fox News and Newsmax. You're hearing it from Trump surrogates and people who just generally support him. They're asking that question, are you better off? And it's interesting this question is being asked now because I would hope, I know COVID did a number on us, our perception of time. But 4 years ago, to the day, we were in the throes of shutting down because COVID was running rampant through the United States and the world. It had been declared a pandemic. And then what followed was carnage, the likes of which we haven't seen since the early 1900s. Over 1 million Americans died, some without access to their families. It was a tragic era. I mean, who ever thought we would have lived through something like what we went through? So for Republicans, to ask the question, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago, living in fear because of the very real threat of a deadly virus? The answer is yeah. I'm far better off today than I was 4 years ago because of that very fact. Because of the fact that we got through it, we're on the other side of it. The economy is booming now. The unemployment's the lowest it's ever been practically. Inflation is very well under control. Is there more to work on? Of course. We still aspire to be the more perfect union that we set forth to create in the late 1700s. But look, let me just play. I'll give you a flavor for what I'm talking about. Here's like a 9-second clip of Sean Hannity asking this question. And then we're going to go on to a Biden ad that really just drives it home. And you're going to be seeing more of these that I'll show you because they're so important. They're so impactful. They have such power in just reminding people where we were and who was at the helm during that. First, though, before I go all crazy, Sean Hannity asking the very question, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago?
So to me, the one thing they don't want to talk about is, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Because there's no good answer for them.
Sean Hannity, I mean, he's a beady-eyed, pumpkin-headed moron. It's an unbelievable amount of hubris to walk around with this unearned arrogance of Sean Hannity. Well, they just don't have a good answer for, are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? So here's this ad. It's a brief one, 40 seconds or so, from the Biden campaign that really lays it out, really should be a great reminder. And this, if you're listening, Biden team, more of this. Once a week, we need one of these. They are powerful, and they will be a reminder that, well, we'll talk about it on the other side. Watch this amazing ad, short, brief, consumable ad from the Biden campaign.
And then I see the disinfectant. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside?
And on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your response to this crisis?
I'd rate it a 10. I think we've done a great job.
What do you say to Americans who are watching you right now who are scared?
I say that you're a terrible reporter. That's what I say. Yeah, no, I don't take responsibility at all. We're doing, I think, really, really well.
I'll tell you what. How? 1,000 Americans are dying a day.
They are dying. That's true. And it is what it is.
Look, even without the economic benefits of where we are right now in America, and with things, stock market doing great, just generally things are great. Even without that, we're doing better. Even if unemployment was at 10% right now, even if we still had some supply chain issues, we're better off today than we were 4 years. Even if there was still a pandemic raging, we're better off than we were 4 years ago because we don't have an idiot telling us to shine light straight up our asses or inject bleach into our bodies or to take toxic levels of whatever nonsense drug, ivermectin or whatever else, that he is promoting, that is now study after study after study indicated that people died because of it. It was not good. It was not a prophylactic to the pandemic. I'm sure Donald Trump's personal friends made all kinds of money in their stock portfolios, backing up companies that made non-COVID related drugs. But if you remember, it wasn't just the pandemic. It was supply chain issues. It was, more importantly though, like what we can do, you remember, it should be a good reminder. More importantly though, it was the leadership issue. It was Donald Trump. We've heard the interview with Bob Woodward where while the day before he was telling Americans that everything was fine, it wasn't a problem, telling reporters they're terrible for even asking a question about it. He was telling Bob Woodward that, yeah, this is dangerous. This isn't just a flu. This is airborne. This is a very dangerous, scary thing. But because he was tested and everyone who came in contact with him was tested on the daily basis, he felt safe. So it didn't matter what any of you went through. It didn't matter that you lost your mom or your dad or your child or some other family member or a friend. It didn't matter to him. I mean, Herman Cain is dead because of loyalty to Donald Trump and his, not Herman Cain, but Donald Trump's feckless handling of this. The wild expectations of people to go to rallies in the middle of this, unmasked, while they mocked people who wore masks. This is what we will have. A man who cannot be trusted to lead. A man who gives the opposite of good advice, who knows the dangers of what was being faced and said the opposite, said there's nothing to fear, everything's fine. And he convinced an army of low information idiots. Again, going back to what I talked about earlier, the piggies, the piggies in the Republican Party who are just craving the Trump slop. He convinced them not to get vaccinated, or at least sowed enough doubt that they chose not to, that it was treading on them. Whoa, don't tread on me by saving my life and assisting me in not spreading the virus to others and killing them. We need someone who's capable and competent to lead. Someone who has even the minimum levels of empathy to do the job, and Donald Trump does not have this. So good job, Biden campaign. More of this. Like I said, once a week, once every 2 weeks. You don't want it to lose its luster. You don't want it to lose its impact. But we need more of this. People who have access to all of this footage and just put this on a loop for people to remember where we were and what kind of leadership we were under at the time. Anyway, I'd love to know what you think. You can call, leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, as always, you can email me, daily@dollemore.com. The best way, though, is just to talk about this in the comments. Make sure you share this video, you're subscribed, all of the things that YouTubers tell you what to do. It is a help because YouTube will recommend this content to new viewers, and that's a good thing for me, obviously, but it's also a good thing on the scale of disseminating information and changing hearts and minds. If you want to help support this work and produce this work to change hearts and minds, click the join button below, become a channel member for $2 a month, or go over to my Patreon page, patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. I'm on social media just about everywhere at Dollemore. I'd love to see you there, and I will see you next time. Until then, be genuine and take care of one another.